Happy Monday. And more importantly, happy Martin Luther King Day on this Monday. A full day of stuff. If you weren't paying attention, we didn't have a show to kick off the opening kick. We've got a special college football final. As if you were living under a rock, the college football season came to an end with Ohio State taking down Notre Dame 34-23, much to, I think, the chagrin of most of the people. I don't know where your pulling allegiances were. I don't think Smoke really – were you pulling one way or another, Smoke?
Pulling for the best team on paper, Ohio State. It's not that hard.
they did it, but I think some of us may have had some Irish leans going into the game. I was pulling for the Golden Domers. I wanted Freeman to get it done, but
you hate Notre Dame. Stop lying.
I do hate Notre Dame. That's what I'm going to tell you something.
I'm with you.
I didn't care either way, to be honest with you.
I wanted Notre Dame to win, and I don't like Notre Dame either.
I hate Notre Dame, and I was all Golden Domer tonight.
Hey, look, I'm just like most college kids. My allegiance can be bought, so I would fine with it.
Hold on, time out. So we have a podcast.
Full time out.
If your allegiance can be bought, does that mean someone could buy you from the podcast transfer portal? I mean,
okay, now Raj was in the transfer portal earlier this year for our podcast, so let's not even go there, Raj. You said you'd sell me out for a king size Reese's peanut butter cup, so
that'd be about $15.
So you say Rodgerrick's open for trade on our Thursday night?
Rodgerick is open for trade. Just nobody wants him, so I don't get anything. We don't get any good offers.
Man.
Speaking of Rodgerrick, let me introduce this all-star panel I've got with me tonight. As always, on the opening kick, I've got my man, my co-host, Gerald Smoke Dixon. How you doing tonight, sir?
I am doing well. I got my hat on. 3 or 4 of us got a hat on. Somebody didn't get the memo.
All right. So now that Smoke's done got on me, because I didn't look, it's either I'm not wearing a hat or I'm not dressed up enough. He either comes in like in a looking like he's on a recruiting visit for Alabama A&M.
Listen, big boy announcement. Sam Shade, head coach at A&M, my B-side 5 brother, proud Bama man. We here holding it down, and I might even have a special guest for you. Antonio Carter's here with me at the house.
Oh, he better hop on. Let's get him on tonight. Look,
matter of fact, I'm gonna call him. He downstairs.
I tell you what, Smoke doesn't miss an opportunity. He doesn't wear stuff just to wear it. I come in wearing a shirt, and it's just because I'm wearing a Dave Matthews shirt. If Smoke's got something on, there's always some underlying theme for the night. There you go, Sam Shade, Alabama A&M.
Let's go, Shade.
But if you haven't noticed, we've got some special guests with us tonight from the Herb and Rodg Podcast. My man Herb, who's with me on Thursday night at Going Hard in the Paint, talking Alabama basketball, and his man Rodg, who have a podcast on Tuesday night, are here to break down this final game of the college football season with us tonight. Welcome, fellas.
Appreciate y'all for having us.
Yes, it's already been a fun time, man. Appreciate you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Glad y'all here. All right, before we get going on this jam-packed show to talk a little Ohio State, Notre Dame, let's give a little bit of love to the people that keep the lights on here at the Bama Standard and the opening kick. And first of all, we wouldn't be anywhere without Whip Wheel Sports and our title towel. Herb, tell them about that title towel.
Man, you already know. Love that title towel. Take it with me everywhere I go. When I say everywhere I go, I've got a job out of town tomorrow. The title towel's already in the car, ready to go with me. You see the couple in the background there. Great product, great people. You know, I love texting them whenever I need something or if I need to help a co-host get a problem. And yeah, Smoke is actually doing he's wiping off sweat. I've used it to wipe down tears when especially when the Alabama season is not going the way I want it to go. So title towel is multi-purpose, but you know I love it. Love those folks, man.
So soft.
It is.
Yeah,
it is, man. If you can't see it on the camera, this towel, man, it's not just like it's not just a logo on some crappy material. This is good.
It's lightweight and it's
towel material right here, fellas.
It's not too big to take to the games. It's the perfect size too. I love it. I love it.
But it's Alabama. They don't do anything second rate. You know, when it represents the A. Also, got to give a little love to the one and only Lambstone Company at realrockstone.com. Also keeping the lights on. Have you ever dreamed of having beautiful natural stone in or around your home? Well, don't settle for subpar materials. Check out Limestone Company's selection of natural stone products to meet all your project needs. Limestone is located in Aniana, Alabama, and is one of the oldest, most trusted sources in the state. So contact them today and tell them we sent you using the promo code the Bama Standard and receive 10% off your purchase of stone. Also, Whitwell Sports, don't want to forget this. Use promo code Standard and also get 20% off that title towel when you go to your next Tide game. All right. With that said, like I said, I got an all-star cast. Let's go right into it, man. What are your instant reactions to this national title game? We'll start with our guest, Herb.
For the majority of it into the third quarter, it was playing out just like I thought. The first Notre Dame drive was impressive, but I just don't see how you replicate that over the course of a whole game. And you need too many things to go right. One negative play, one penalty, and like the whole drive is done. Meanwhile, Ohio State, get a holding penalty, whatever happens, you have the playmakers. It was just like the Globetrotters playing, what was the Generals or whatever. That's just what it felt like at times. You've got an all-star cast. I see the comment over there about how many people transferred in. Smoke made the point before the show, though, man. You are only as good as your players. And Ohio State said, we're going to spend $20 million and get the players. And for everybody complaining, if Bama had wanted to spend $20 million and get all those players, I would have been yelling just as loud for them in the national championship. So
there you go.
I won't go too long, but yeah, it just kind of played out for the most part for most of the game the way I thought it would.
Yeah.
Raj, was that kind of your reaction? Do you have a different feel for it?
No, to a certain extent, I kind of agree with Herb. Hate agreeing with Herb, but I do at this point. My initial reaction for the game, my initial prediction was 30-14 Ohio State, and I kind of had a feeling it was going in that direction, especially when the score was 28-31-7. But I'm glad, and I guess just a side note, shout out to Marcus Freeman, and we'll probably get into this later. Shout out to Marcus Freeman for letting his team put up a really, really good fight in that second half. I mean, the game could have easily gotten out of hand when it was 31-7. They came back, made it a nice game, 34-23. So I was happy with the way it turned out. At the end of the day, it's still really, really hard watching these games, not seeing Bama play football. It's hard to accept, but it is what it is. So overall, good competitive game. Happy for both teams. Ohio State got what they paid for. Notre Dame put up a good fight. They played a really, really good game. And Notre Dame made it farther than I thought they would in the college football playoffs. So kudos to them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Smoke, man, that's never scared to spit his truth.
Well, you know what? The better team won today is the first statement I would say. Because I didn't think talent-wise, when you look on paper, it was close. And I don't think the game was close. Agreed. I mean, every now and then at the end of the game, you see points. But the box score didn't really match what was put on the field today.
Right.
After that first drive, I thought that Ohio State totally manhandled and outclassed and outplayed Notre Dame. And both of you guys sit on the standpoint of just players, and more players. But I think Ohio State was ahead of the game in two ways. Herb, you said they spent $20 million on their players, correct?
Right.
All right. The revenue this year is what? $20 million. Revenue sharing. So they figured out that in a year in advance from everybody else, we're going to go ahead and put our pool of $20 million in and get and structure the best team possible for this year before the rest of the Cowboys jump on that and get into the race with us. So we want to get one before everybody else.
Right. And before the revenue sharing kicks in like this next year, which kind of skews all the budgets. So yeah,
correct.
I'm with you.
So they got one ahead of everybody.
Yep.
Two, I think Ryan Day showed everybody that there's two seasons now. And the way that we look at college football and the way that we used to view it of going 12-0, if you lose one game, the season's over. If you don't beat your rival, the season's over and we can't win. No. You can actually lose a game or two, but still prepare your team for the next season, which is called the playoffs, which means way more than the regular season. And I think they put that to bed earlier than everybody else. So shout out to Ohio State for being forward thinkers and evolving through this college football playoffs before everybody else got on the train.
Yep.
Absolutely. And look, you can't take they played within the rules. That's what the rules are now, and they did it. You can hate them all you want, but they didn't need to do anything that was illegal to get there. They won the title. And to their credit, they had the toughest road in the playoffs. They weren't given the Boise State SMU ride. They played Tennessee, who everybody said, hey, that defense is going to go up there and give them an L. Then they played Oregon, the team that had beat them earlier in the year and won the Big Ten. And then they played Texas. I mean, it's just, look, take nothing away from Ohio State's journey through this. And I saw one comment that kind of made me laugh from Jeff Merriman here. You know, Kansas State deserves a piece of the trophy due to the QB transfer. And I think there's several teams that watched Ohio State and felt like that. Alabama's out there watching Caleb Downs be the best defensive player out there. And it's like, damn, we could have used him. I'm pretty sure Ole Miss fans are sitting there watching Quinshon Judkins going, man, our team might look a little different in Florida when they had a receiver playing running back than Quinshon Judkins. So, you know, but again, credit to Ohio State. They played within the game, and like Smoke said, that $20 million revenue sharing plus, that's not all. You're still going to have your NIL and your collectives on top of that. So they knew what they had coming, and they knew they were covered. And you know, I think everybody wrote them off after that Michigan game, and they, you know, everybody's Ryan Day sucks. He can't get it done. Yada yada. Well, that's that one team he can't beat. They kind of went within and kind of showed the world. And on the other side, you know, it got 31-7, and especially our group and the people that watch our show, the Bama folks, probably had some flashbacks. Said, here we go again, Notre Dame getting blown out in a championship game. But part of the reason I think the nation fell in love, and I said I was cheering for Notre Dame before the game, is the personality of Marcus Freeman. And you saw that in his team. They didn't quit. They kept fighting. And that was the difference in this Notre Dame ball club and the ones that we've watched the last 25 years. Is they are a legit program. They did smack Georgia a week ago. I said, and you know, to their credit, they didn't lay down. I kind of like to see them go for the touchdown instead of kicking the field goal they missed.
Yes.
2020. But again,
they didn't have enough horses to do that. Can I hit a 20-second timeout? Because you gave a lot of credit to a lot of average right there. You gave a lot of credit to Ryan Day for basically just joyriding. I think he got in the car of Ohio State and a lot of good things happened. And he was Jim Knowles' bona fide defensive coordinator. Hiring Chip Kelly to run that offense and being a cheerleader on the sideline, I thought that was a great idea by Ryan Day. Take the play calling out of his hand so he can be a play caller. Will Howard, Kansas State, I don't think you missed much. It's like screwing up a pot of coffee if you would have messed this Ohio State train up. Offensive line legit. Receivers, they got 3 number 1 receivers. And you got 2 guys playing second fiddle to a freshman that could easily go anywhere else. Be the number 1 running back. Both running backs should easily be anywhere and be the bell cow, but they settled in. You lose a first-round left tackle, and you take your first-round left guard and you bump him out. Your center tears his ACL, and you just bump another guy in. All I'm saying is Will Howard did enough not to screw it up, because there's some plays today that he left completely on the field. And you're like, bro, if you're a C-level quarterback, I think Ohio State put up 56 points on these guys if he was better. But shout out to them. They won a national championship. Ken Dorsey can say the same thing too.
Yeah. Well, that segues into our next topic then, Smoke, and then we'll start with you and go reverse. What does this mean? We'll talk both coaches' programs going forward. You know, Ryan Day was considered an underachiever, and now he's got a title. What does this mean for Ryan Day? You just said he just kind of rode the coattails again. He brought in a dynamic offensive coordinator. Does this change the perception? Obviously, maybe not for you, or does this not change the perception?
I've always thought that Ryan Day was a solid coach, just like Larry Coker. I mean, sometimes to be a good coach, you just got to get out of the way of the real good players. And sometimes you can put your imprint too much on a team that does not necessarily need it. I didn't think this team needed much other than healthy, proper preparation, get out the way, and let the real good players go out and hunt. So, listen, if you want a grade from me for Ryan Day, I give him an A because he won the national championship doing exactly what his team needed him to do and what was required for him all year long.
I don't know, man.
I don't know what to do here.
You gotta say something, man. You gotta say something.
I think the hate on Day is all centered around Michigan. Yeah, is he given a lot of talent? But I don't know, man. I think we're a little premature on the Day hate. We like to hop on him. I know we're supposed to hate him. I'm not exactly sure why, other than he looks like Pluto from Popeye and kind of plays the villain role and coaches for Ohio State.
Get a man his flowers. He won a national.
He's a national champion tonight, baby. He took that team and didn't blow it. You know, Raj, any more on Ryan? Huh?
We've seen guys blow that before. So
definitely.
Hey, we were talking about a guy before the show had a lot of talent that I think there's some teams in the SEC that blew a shot with a lot of talent this year, but that's a different direction. Raj, you feel the same about Ryan, or?
I mean, I feel like this victory buys him another year. I think it does cement him as a good coach. Let's keep in mind, this wasn't his first national championship. We remember what happened back in 2020 when we blew him out the water. He came in, he had a pretty good roster this year. They won the national championship. So it's going to push the haters away for another year. But come next year, if Ohio State loses some big games, if they lose to Michigan again, or if they don't win the Natty, the Ohio State Buckeye fans are going to come after him. And there's going to be people that aren't Buckeye fans that are going to say the same thing about him that they were saying this year. They're going to criticize him and say, Ryan Day's got to go. Now, I don't know what their roster is going to look like next year. Obviously, they'll have Smith and Downs, and I think Howard's exhausted his eligibility, correct? Isn't he like a senior? I'm assuming. I'm
gonna tell you like this.
Nowadays, you can play till you're like 26.
With the NCAA, there's so many waivers that you put up.
What rules?
I would say table that with a question mark and a shrug, like maybe.
Got you.
I mean, Alabama posted a thing for walk-on tryouts, and I've heard that JUCO doesn't matter anymore. So I'm pretty sure I got 4 years of eligibility.
Herb and I are going. Herb and I are going. I ain't got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Back to the point though. No, I feel like I don't know what their roster is going to look like next year, but if they can, I don't want them to win back-to-back natties, but if they don't win next year, I feel like he's going to receive the same amount of criticism. So we'll see what happens. But this is a good win for him, good win for the program. Kudos to Ohio State. Again, to Smoke's point, they had the roster, they did what they were supposed to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the biggest thing and the point that you were making, Smoke, I feel like he just kind of got out of the way after the Michigan game. I feel like in Michigan, they had advantages in different areas, and they said, we're going to prove that we can run even when, like you said, we've got the best wide receiver core in the country. Let's just throw it over their heads. And they were just kind of banging themselves as the rock. I think when they got into the playoffs, it was kind of like you don't know if this is the actual conversation, but there's a lot of people thought if he didn't win the title, he was getting fired. So he's like, what changes do we have to make here? Let our players play. Let's just get some stuff, take advantage of the stuff. Like you said, Will Howard wasn't great, but he's mobile enough quarterback to make plays. And then he said, you're throwing to 3 great receivers. You don't have to be great. So as far as what their position is next year, Smith will still be out there. They'll be fine. Yeah. They'll collect enough in to do it. And I'm different on that. I mean, I know if they lose to Michigan again, some people will, there'll be a little bit of uproar, but you got to think winning a national title buys you at least a couple years, right? Like, is the currency changing? It used to be like 4 or 5 years for a national title. Now it's like, off season. You didn't look good at the A-Day game, even though you won a national title. So I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if they make it to the playoff next year, let's just say they lose first, second round. What are everybody gonna say about him? Was it a failure? Whether he only won one, or what?
Because of NIL though and transfer portal, it's easier for other people to catch up. And I don't think a lot of people that are judging coaches now are not adjusting to that. They're like, okay, you should, they're like, you should win it every year now. No, there's no dynasties. The next team.
There you go.
Rutgers can get a couple good guys and knock them off for a game or two next year and run their stuff. So the landscape's just changed.
Well, in perception's reality. We've seen it all in our chat. Well, that $20 million got him a title. That's not. And Smoke even said it. I feel like he was kind of riding an offensive coordinator. I feel like the perception's already kind of being set that, hey, well, he won with the best team money could buy and with guys around him. So,
but we would have done that though. We would have done that though.
No, that's what
we
I'm
would have.
saying. So
everybody who's saying that wishes that was us.
Next year, and they're like, well, he was propped up by the money and the coaching.
Right.
So when you look at the current landscape of college football, all Bama fans and LSU, Clemson, and Georgia fans look at it this way. The days of just getting richer by your name and the coach that stood in that chair that said, come play for me in 3 years, you go to the NFL. It's no different than Ohio State or any other school saying, hey, listen, on top of that revenue share, we have collective money over here and the opportunity to earn this. Come play for us. We can get you 1 year and get you to be Will Howard and win a national championship, and also get you $20 million off of the field, $2 million. So there's no difference in hoarding talent with Alabama, Georgia did for years of what other schools are doing now in terms of revenue share and the financial aspect of building your team. I don't think there's any more team building and program building anymore. I think every year it's going to be a 6-month adjustment. Who adjusts the quickest from the today when the seasons end until spring ball gets around to get your best team, to the summer keeping them healthy, to the season getting them through to be in the top 12, and after the top 12, remembering how to win 4 games to win a national championship. And that's a cycle of college football in the way that we look at it right now. Because of the years of, we're going to dominate for 5 years. We're going to put a wall around the state of Alabama and keep everybody in, man. Throw that out the window. Done.
Yeah.
Stop talking. Yeah. That's not recruiting. That's not team building anymore.
No.
You got to go out and purchase and get the best.
So quick question.
You see when some of that money that's out there. Sorry, Rob, just real quick. Some of that money that's out there. Look at Beck. You're going to forego getting to the NFL quicker because you're going to go ahead and make that money now. So to your point, and then getting to the NFL doesn't have to be through the big boys anymore. We see plenty of stories where you can get, the tape will be out there. You're going to get on TV. Like the MAC has their own nights to play. Right. There's so many avenues and so much money. So go ahead, Raj. My bad.
No, I think both of y'all answered my question. There used to be a time when recruits come to Bama and they would see all the national championships, all the players going to the league, the jerseys of the players, things like that, and et cetera. But unfortunately, I feel like that just doesn't mean as much anymore because to everybody's point, it's all about that dollar. You look at somebody like, let's just take Justice Terry, for example, who I thought he was going to Georgia for the longest because they recruited him since he was, in 8th grade? And then at the last second, it just seems like Texas just went and said, here you go. We got something for you. Now he's in Austin. So it just doesn't mean the same.
And again, it's these kids are getting to the idea of branding and what can you do for me right now?
Yep.
And, when we're all coming up and we're thinking about, we're trying to get to the league. Yeah. Now these kids are saying, how can I get to my first big NIL bag? And what school is going to get me that opportunity? Yeah. On top of that, what is the path that's least resistant that I don't have to put up with harder work, any type of competition, and I can get this money and still get to where I have to get to?
Right.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, these kids aren't running to the NFL because a lot of them are making more money in college. Yep. You can make $400,000 in the NFL. Chop that in half, that's $200,000. On top of that, you have to pay for your living expenses. If you're in college and you get $400,000 and you chop it in half, you're still eating on campus. You still got college. You still got campus living, and you're not paying any expenses out of your pocket. Yeah. So really, you can pocket a cool $150 if you're really structuring it right. Yeah. In the NFL, you are coming home with $25,000, and you can't wait to get back to minicamp to make those extra $100 a day because you are dead broke because you're living a real life. So why should I go out there, expose myself, and get into the real world while I can still stay here and play collegiate ball and get paid well and do less and earn more?
Yeah. You'd be insane. What do they do? They're already talking about Beck's going to look to making about 9.7 this year for playing 1 year at Miami for being close to his girlfriend. I'll never make fun of that kid again. Brilliant.
No state taxes. No state taxes. Remember
that money, son. And look, it's where we are, and I think that's a good segue because I think Raj, you wanted to touch on Freeman. Look, we're talking all about how Ohio State did it within the line, spent $20 million, bought the best team, won with the best team. On the flip side, and look, Notre Dame used the portal. Leonard, Riley Leonard came out of the portal, but they weren't spending like Ohio State and some of these other programs were, and he kind of built it the old way, and that you saw a lot of that team and just kind of that. I think a lot of people fell in love with Notre Dame because it gave them a little bit of breath of what we loved about football years ago and the coach. And is that sustainable, Raj? What's this mean for? Can Freeman continually do this at Notre Dame the way he did it this year? What does it mean for him?
I honestly, I don't know if he'll win a national championship. Again, kudos to him. He, ever since he's been there, if you look at his record has gotten better every year. 9-4, 10-3, 14-2. Obviously, the next step would be national championship. But I feel like this day and age, you have to have somewhat of a balanced offense to win the national championship. And in the game we just watched, I mean, they didn't really start throwing the ball to like the fourth quarter, and they got some nice completions. They threw it to the tight end who was like number 88. That guy was like 250, 260. I mean, had they thrown it to some faster receivers, they probably could have put some more points in the board early in the game. So to your question, I like I said, it might get them to obviously another playoff with the way the schedule's set up, but I don't know if they make it to another national championship game, and I just don't think they win a national championship. So at one point, if they continue to go season after season without winning, then they're going to start raising some eyebrows and say, what do we do next? How can we get over that hump? I think, again, the answer is get a passing attack. You got to get a passing attack. We know all year that they can run the ball, and they got them to the national championship, and I give them credit for that. But they couldn't go toe-to-toe with Ohio State. I think the only reason they caught up at the end was because Ohio State kind of took their foot off the gas for a little bit, and then they just got some. And then, of course, the Booger had the fumble. So, Notre Dame recovered from that. But, they got to get a balanced offense.
Yeah. I mean, they only forced one punt, and then they had that fumble. Like every other possession was ending in a touchdown. But, Raj, the guy you're talking about, like that was their leading receiver, was their tight end. And not even like dynamic, I guess, like the Penn State one. That's their leading receiver for the year. You just don't know any other receiver. Like you knew everybody on Ohio State. You know any of these guys coming to Notre Dame. You knew they were built on defense and a running game, and that's how they do. But it's just not sustainable once you get into a shootout. And you can't think that you're going to go through the whole playoffs and not reach some kind of dynamic offense. That would just be a terrible playoff if everybody was. I don't see it as 12 defensive teams getting to the playoffs, I guess. Right. So at some point, you got to have somebody that steps up. And if the only person, he had 458 yards, like for the whole year was their tight end. Yeah. That's, a good 4-game stretch for a lot of guys that you're talking about on this list, on your dynamic wide receiver. So they look like they built up their defense. You got to put something into the offense.
Right. And when you look at it, honestly, and if I could put my GM hat back on, this looks like Notre Dame football that we've seen from 88,
agreed,
89, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, and so on. Right. Great offensive line, good running back, quarterback that just does not get you beat.
Right.
Receivers, tight end you. But when you construct your team moving forward, you have to be able to construct your team to play in all weather, like all terrain tires. If we're playing in a slugfest, okay, good. Here goes my slug.
Yeah.
Right.
Going to battle this thing out. And I think that's what Ohio State did. If I get down by 10 points, 14 points, I have enough to play from behind. If I need to get in a hurry-up passing attack, you just have to build your team more to sustain the way other teams play and make other teams adjust to you instead of just saying, this is what we do.
We're going to try and do it no matter what.
Yeah, because at some point – a DB's going to fall, your quarterback's going to have an off game, and you're going to have to say, you know what, we need to go to plan B. And whatever plan B is, offensive coordinator, we got to get 2 touchdowns within the next 8 minutes. Once Notre Dame got down by double digits, we all said, okay, listen, stop throwing some more. It's over. The game's over. What are we going to say on the recap show? Because it's a done deal.
Yeah, and to your point there, Riley Leonard had a lot of time to throw early on. The line was holding up early on in the game, and there was nothing going out there. So is that I have nobody to throw to? Nobody's getting open. There's just no downfield passing attack. So I'm a total agreement. Once they got down a couple.
Yeah, he threw for 255 yards and 2 touchdowns. So the receivers were there. It's just that they started to do it really, really late. Had they started this maybe in the first quarter.
A lot of garbage time to me, I feel like.
I think Ohio State, and that's what I get pissed off at real good teams. Like at some point, regardless, don't play scared and don't coach scared.
Right.
Like if the way that you started the game and you have them down, I think one time it was like 31-7.
Yeah. Yep.
Keep playing the same way. Don't say, hey guys, let's just bleed the clock and get now you have your players playing cautious, coaches feel cautious, and now you see Notre Dame starting to get downfield passes because all the DBs are saying, I just don't want to get beat deep. I just don't want to give up. Like, just go play the same way that we got here. The same way that we're going to finish the game. Just keep going. And that's why I say I love Ryan Day. And I think his mentality and the way they won, he just wrote it. But when you see Nick Saban and Kirby, their mindset, or even Coach Sweeney, their mindset does not change from the first snap to the end of the game. They're not going to embarrass you. Well, Sweeney will. Sweeney run the score up on. But those are the two guys. Just play the game the right way and not play cautious, because once you start playing cautious, everybody now on pins and needles. And I think if I was a bookie, I guess, did they win the money line, Petty?
No, Ohio State ended up covering.
Okay, there you go.
But to your point,
you mean did they beat the spread? Is that what you're asking?
Once you take your foot off the gas to get it back on is a difficult thing, because the momentum switched, and then you're playing on your heels. And then to get that momentum, you came out firing is never the same. And I'll never understand coaches changing the philosophy of the way they play. Again, that's why I question. And y'all are like a Segway Jedi or ninjas. Like, man, that's going right into
just say the other two. Just say that those two guys are making us look good, man.
No, we were paying attention in the production meeting. That's all. Let me tell y'all the truth. Raj texted me before the game, was like, do we have to have I don't want to embarrass us in front of these two guys. I'm like, yeah, man, we got to bring our A game tonight. We got to bring our A game tonight with these two.
I stopped thinking about notes when it was around 28-7. I was like, well, shoot, we could just say anything in this game.
Just throw the notes in the air. Let it go. Throw the notes.
I mean,
the game is over.
Well, here we're just talking Notre Dame, and that's where that makes this part hard to kind of break down, because is there really a pivotal moment in a game where a team, Notre Dame had a great drive coming out, 10-minute drive, exactly what you want. You score a touchdown, make it look like you're in the game, and then all of a sudden you realize they're not going to stop Ohio State all night.
Listen, if you want to know, your notes ended on the first drive. Great.
I mean, I guess if you want to say a pivotal moment for me was the missed field goal, because at that moment, I feel like if you go for it, you score, that is your shot to go back in the game. And like you say, Smoke, why change? Because early in the game, Notre Dame's going for it on that first drive. Every fourth down they had, there you go. You're down 2 scores with like 8 minutes to go. You've only gotten, like you pointed out, Herb, earlier, you've gotten them to punt once. You've gotten 1 turnover. Your odds aren't looking real good at stopping this team. You've got to score any chance you got. And a field goal means you still got to get 2 scores. Y'all see, what were the pivotal moments of these games for you guys?
On that particular one, by the way, I'll let somebody else handle it, but I think they played themselves out of the field goal by not getting a couple yards. I think that was their problem, was stuck at the 9. I'm going to give my pivotal play or momentum shift Notre Dame's second drive. You started off the game the way you wanted. Ohio State came down and matched you. Feels like fairly easily. The second drive is where you had to say, hey, is this going to be a game or not? It wasn't a game, and then that's when it kind of went sideways.
That's
so
exactly. I was going to say the same thing. I said when Ohio State was up 14-7.
I saw your notes. That's why.
When Ohio State was up 14-7 and Notre Dame failed to counter, they punted the ball. Ohio State gets it back, makes a couple good plays, they score. I said that was it, because I knew Notre Dame wasn't going to be able to keep this up with as far as going jab to jab. And that was pretty much it. That's when Ohio State started to blow it open. And then obviously Judkins' run in the beginning of the second half, the 65-70-yard run, even though they only got a field goal, that was still a huge play. But, yeah, when Notre Dame couldn't counter off that second drive, I knew it was over.
Yeah. The fact that Ohio State scored 14 in 2 consecutive drives, you knew this game was going to be in the 30s.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Notre Dame, they can't score 30 points the way that they play the game. No. The only chance that I thought they were going to have was playing in the 20s, and that's late. And once you saw that, you kind of just said, okay, pour some more. Keep pouring, because we don't really need to take any good notes on this game because after the first drive, they punted in, and I looked over on the sideline of Ohio State, like, they didn't blink. They just got the ball and said, okay, well, they just scored. Okay, bop, 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 7. Now what? A punt, bop, 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 14.
Yep.
Punt, 21. Halftime. They kneeled on the ball. Like, to me, once you do that, you're just saying that we don't have a chance because I don't even care. I don't think my quarterback is good enough to at least give us a shot. Just throw a ball up, get a PI.
Yeah, but to who? That was the problem.
Somebody.
It's to me. I just don't think that they knew they had a chance to win, but once they gave their best drive, and then they came back out and played their best drive on defense, or try to call their best defense, and they couldn't do anything with them. I think everyone looked on the sideline and was like, "Oh crap!"
I agree.
This one
to that point, sorry, Ron, real quick. To that point, after Notre Dame's first drive, Riley Leonard is throwing up on the sideline and he's gassed. And after Ohio State's first touchdown, it's just like, okay, good. Everybody good? Yeah, everybody good.
We're good. Next one. You know what I mean? So to me, like, and putting my coach hat back on, like, you gear up and you practice for those first 15 plays, and you know exactly what the team's going to be in on defense. If you do this motion and this shift, you know exactly what they're going to do because this is what you practice for. Once practice got over and now playing started and player versus player and coaches can't really babysit you anymore, yeah, you saw what happened.
Yeah.
It was over.
I agree.
Yeah, and I think when you see as much as a fan, you're like, man, that's a great drive. We took 10 minutes off the clock, kept their offense off the field, but there's also that other side of it where you say that literally took everything we had to score on that drive.
Yes.
We couldn't be able to do that. We had to throw everything in our playbook out on drive one. We're not going to be able to do this all night, guys.
Yes. Multiple fourth down conversions. Yeah.
The next drive, we're punting on 4th and 25. So it was like, that's when I knew the next drive that they'd emptied the playbook on ride one.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Well, I want to kind of pivot. I know we got a lot of Bama fans here, and look, a lot of the talk is Ohio State built this super team. Do you think? And I'm going to bring up like Caleb Downs. He was obviously the best player on defense. Quinshon Judkins was making plays left and right on offense. Will that get into teams like Alabama, Ole Miss, or any of these teams that have lost players and now go watch them to say maybe we should have opened up the pocketbook a little more? What difference could that player have made, and was it worth it to keep him?
I think it's personnel malpractice, because if you have the player in your building and you don't know their true worth, that's on you. And if you can't understand the value that player brings to you and go back and say, head coach, we need this guy because of A, B, C, and he contributes towards the cost of winning, and there's no value on the cost of winning. Because if you win, coaches get extensions, players get paid.
Yep.
So for the Bamas and everybody else out there that can't really evaluate, and I'm not saying anyone can't evaluate, but you got to understand what's in your building and pay the ones that are on your team, and don't allow others to come and pluck and take your players away from you when you already have them in-house. That's my only advice to that. And I don't think that there are any teams that's made enough movement right now in terms of transfer portal and player acquisition to raise the bar and say, okay, they're going to overtake Ohio State or Texas or Georgia that's currently finished in the top 4.
Yeah. I think the big question going in. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw that at you, Herb and Rodg, and double down. Alabama, not just one. I mean, we can talk about Caleb Downs. Trey Amos went to Ole Miss. Both those guys are probably going to hear their name called on day one.
Yeah.
That's 2 first-round draft picks in your secondary that walked off and played for other teams. I'm with you, Smoke. That comes from like, you got to know what you got there. You know that those guys are first-round talents. You've seen them. Do you see this like impacting the way Alabama moves forward? Herb, Rodg, I'll let either one of y'all go. Who wants to take the time here?
But did we let Downs go, or was it kind of more on his own?
On his own, like fellas, I'm not saying that that Courtney Morgan and those guys, they didn't have a chance because they were new.
Yeah,
I'm just saying,
it was a quick turn.
Correct.
Yeah.
Moving forward, understanding what you have right now on your roster for next year, not last year. Because last year, that's done. Nick Saban retired. They didn't keep enough people in-house to give direction to the incoming personnel and coaches to get and keep the right players in. I'm just saying, for the 2025 season, if you allow yours to leave and you don't understand the rights and the reasons and the proper checkbook that you got to write, the zeros, to keep them in-house, and you allow them to go somewhere else and become good, shame on you.
Yeah.
Money's out.
I think you did see a little bit of a shift from the Alabama perspective this year, is because you saw them keep a lot of guys, especially on the defense, which was really the strength down the end, down the stretch for them. So they decided, hey, here's your shot at NFL. Here's what we can do to keep you. Hey, I know you might be thinking about transfer, whatever. Here's a shot to keep you. And I'll even go ahead and address that exact one. Downs wasn't going to help us this year. Those weren't our issues. So, yeah, I understand that you would love to keep a first-round talent at any point, but putting Downs on the team from last year, we're still not a playoff team. So that I just think that's
we weren't really lacking in that area on defense.
Yeah,
we did all right.
You might beat Vandy, but you're still not playing in the final 4 games.
Yeah. No, not at all. So I don't think that's a thing. Yeah. And we've heard multiple stories about how much, got dropped to get him up there. So kudos to him, kudos to Ohio State. But I agree. Going forward, I think all the teams have to change. Like, are you going to chase people from the transfer portal? Are you going to be very specific with how you do that? And then also at the same time, when you're chasing those transfer portal, what does it mean to the guys that you have there that you're not paying? And then at that point, what's more important to you? Do I want to keep a little continuity and pay my guys a little bit more? Yeah. So I think teams have to change the way they
God, that is a great point, Herb, because I'm glad I wanted you to kind of go that direction, because I do think if you're a fan paying attention, you've seen a seismic shift there. Whereas we've seen record numbers get in the portal, you're still not seeing the names or the action like you did last year in the portal, even though because A, players are asking for more money. B, the high name brand really isn't there. But there's so much. I think there's so much more emphasis on keeping your players, keeping the LT Overtons, keeping those guys, your roster intact. Because you're hearing the going rate for an offensive lineman that started one game at a Power 4 school is asking $700,000. And what you just said, you pay him $700,000. Well, you get him there, and what about your starting left tackle that's only getting $300,000? Well, then he's going to his agent saying, "They just brought in this new cat that it played at DeVry, getting $700,000. I want my say." So then you're paying $7 million to your offensive line before it's over, and that's where I do think you're seeing a lot more emphasis on, hey, let's keep the players, like you said, Smoke. Let's evaluate the talent we have, keep the guys we know we got to keep, and then we'll go fit some pieces. And if that trend stays, I think it'll level some of this portal insanity out. Although we'll have a whole talk about the portal being broken by this kid from Wisconsin, but.
And just to give credit to everyone within college football's personnel department, this portal thing for a lot of college personnel people, it's brand new. But if you have any experience from the professional level, you always think and take roster retention and just adding key pieces in where need to, supplementing your roster in areas that needs improvement. Because if your whole team needs improvement, your team sucks anyway. But if you just need 1 or 2 pieces just to add in to make sure that this is the extra oomph that takes you over the edge, that's where you pay the Courtney Morgans and the Brandon Harrises to do their job and saying, okay, cool. We got 5 offensive linemen that are starters, but we still need to get number 6 and 7, but the 8th and 9th guy that is already on our roster. So let's pay number 8 and 9 in order to keep them and develop them. So when the 1, 2, and 3, meaning in 4 and 5 starters leave, we can slide those guys in the budget and the slot that they were at. We just take that slot and pay them. So now you're not looking at those guys on the outside saying, "Man, I know you just brought in 2 dudes from SMU and they getting $500,000. I'm only getting $150, and I've been here. It's blood, sweat, and tears, and he's not as good as me." Now you causing a lot of turmoil within your team that you don't really need. That you could have really handled if you would just had proper intentions on what you wanted to do and you understood what you needed to do within your team, and not just having your team broken apart over a couple of zeros.
Imagine being a college football player 10 years ago and say, I'm only getting 500,000. This guy's getting 700,000. That's crazy.
My
college roommate and I were just talking about that downstairs, Antonio Carter, and he was asking me just to break down, like, how is this going on? Because just being a general manager at the University of Maryland and being over there at Vanderbilt, I'm like, dude, the numbers that these young people are talking about, it's crazy to us. Like, instead of 50,000, it's 500,000. But even with that, it still does not make sense to us because we understand money and the true value of it. But we can't look at it as 20 years ago or 10 years ago. We have to look at the current market today. But even when you're looking at the current market today, you also have to set your market. Adjust with what's moving and the trend is moving, but you can't just say, hey, you know what? I'm going to blow this thing out and pay everybody $1 million. Well, everyone's not worth $1 million.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah. No.
That's true.
I agree.
You mentioned Antonio Carter. That's what we called him back in my portion of the student section, AC Carter. Is he hopping on tonight?
You want me to go get Deuce?
Go get Deuce on here.
Can I exit state that way and come back in like 2 minutes?
Yeah.
All right, say less. I'm gonna go grab Deuce.
Go grab Deuce. Get him on.
Do I get a theme song though when I leave?
Rog will do theme music for you.
I got you.
I need band.
Master of the Universe.
No, I need Bob Marley.
Bob Marley. I don't know a lot of Bob Marley, man. Come on. I'm gonna come up with my theme music on the fly.
Yeah, okay. I guess I should have gone Marley. He is from Jamaica. I messed that up.
I didn't know that.
One or the other. We might be getting some AC Carter love on here. I've joked with him about this because the C just got thrown on there and it really doesn't stand for anything. Because I had to ask him. We all called him Antonio Carter back in the day.
Gotcha.
While he's getting Antonio, were there? And I think this is another hard. You were talking about taking notes, Raj, before, and then being like, "What the hell with this?" I mean, because we have a topic always. What were your surprises? I guess I was surprised Notre Dame kept fighting. I mean, was there anything? I mean, I picked Ohio State to cover the spread. I felt like, there was just unless there was some Notre Dame fighting Irish magic, there just wasn't really much of a chance they had in this game. Did anything surprise y'all?
I mean, to my point earlier, when Riley Leonard started throwing the ball in the first quarter, it surprised me that they waited so late to start doing that because we got a special guest.
No, literally, I thought you were going to be like on the phone, AC. I didn't know he literally had you in house.
We in the building, man.
We got
That's my dude.
Like literally just showed up. Who else you got in there?
That's my guy, man. Now, listen. So we basically said last year we watched the national championship game together, and it's tradition. And the convention was here in Nashville. This is when we saw Coach Sweeney. Right. He had that black eye because Green Belt Mike slowly bumped. This guy, man. This guy. But either way, we said, you know what? He just got hired. Alabama A&M receiver coach, the best receiver coach in the nation by Sam Shade. And they about to put it on. So, hey, listen.
Congrats.
Antonio Carter. Get to him.
For those that don't know, I got to give a little introduction. My man, he was the deuce in my heart when I was in the capstone in the student section. He said AC Carter. We called him Antonio Carter. The man, Deuce, how are you doing, my man?
What's up, man? Hey, man, I tell you what, this is my guy, Smoke, man. I'm so thankful for him. This boy, I think he's a big reason why I'm still here, right? I know the Lord is Savior. He's my number one, but this guy here that kept me out of a lot of trouble, so I'm thankful for that. He wasn't no yes man. He the only one that snatched me up and said, AC, no, you're not going to do that. And so, man, I'm thankful for this, my dude right here, man.
AC, I got to ask, because I've seen some video footage, because I don't know if y'all know, but I'm on another show. I do my show on Monday night with Smoke, but on Tuesday night, I'm with Chris. I mean,
Talk a lot. CA.
Talk a lot. And he's got some videos.
Oh, Chris James.
Chris James. I got some videos from y'all's days at Rose Towers. He shared, and it's all y'all cutting up. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, smoke comes in, laying the law on everybody. Y'all got cars parked. People gonna get tickets. Y'all need to get out of here. I mean, he's just working at all y'all. So was he like did he keep everybody in check? Was he the hall monitor back in the day for the team?
Well, man, I don't know if you want to call him the hall monitor, but he was respected because they knew what they was getting with Smoke, right? Like he's straightforward. At first, it comes off as, man, who this guy thinks he is?
They call me a-hole, bro.
But he was. You may not like what he said, or you may not like the delivery, or you may not like I said, you may not like what he say, but that's what it is. If you really think about it, I mean, he's transparent, and at first I was like, this dude, get him away from me, but I love him to death, right? And then he was my roommate, so I had to hear it all the time, right? I had to take it in, right? He was like my dad or my big brother, man. I have fun the next morning. Man, why do you hang out with those bums?
Okay.
I can't believe you last night, man. Those guys you was with, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, who are you, man? Get out my face, bro.
So Smoke was 40 years old in college.
Man, seriously. Like, straight up, he would tell me, he was like, hey, see those guys you was with last night? Those dudes are bums, man. I mean, straight up. I'm like, what? This dude is crazy, man.
That's not hard for any of us to imagine either. We're like, yeah, well, sounds about right.
Like every Monday night with Smoke.
But no, man, I'm so thankful to be on the show, man. The whole Alabama, the family, just me being a Florida guy, growing up a Seminole fan. Once I entered the state, once I entered Bryant-Denny, once I came up to camp, Ronnie Cottrell, Mike Dubose, Dabo Sweeney, all of those guys played a big part. Ain't nothing like the time. Ain't nothing like the time.
Yeah, he a big time guy.
I love this place, man. I wouldn't know this sucker, right? I'm just thankful for what Alabama, the door is open for me, man. A great education, great ball.
Education.
Yes, I got a degree, but not an education.
Got it.
But listen, I got a great education. Was around some really great people. Got to play great ball and met guys like this. You can't beat that, dog. You can't beat that.
And too bad. The only bad thing, it was pre-NIL. Y'all didn't get any NIL back in those days, right?
Listen, Lord, thank you. I would have said them thank you. If I would have had that money, man,
He wouldn't be here.
I wouldn't be here.
Nah, he wouldn't be here.
What is y'all's NIL value? Go ahead and let us know right now.
Oh, my value, I'm 1.2, easy.
Dang. You've been thinking about that for a minute. That came out too smooth. We've been thinking about that for a minute.
I'm over a ticket. I'm over a meal.
AC looked up in that stands and saw those two jerseys everywhere and was like,
Yeah, thank you.
You know what? Dudes coming in, I would say the high names on our recruiting class. I was a bottom tier dude. I probably was close to the bottom in terms of recruiting early.
I was just about to say that.
And I would say Salim, Kenny King,
yes,
Mike Gaines,
yes,
Dante Ellington,
yes,
yourself,
yeah,
our brother, God bless, Santonio Beard, were the top guys in our recruiting class.
Right.
And damn near real good players. David Payne. He never showed up, but David Payne.
Yeah.
Because we had the number one recruiting class.
Yeah,
Don't know if you were worth the mill out of the gate.
Yeah.
But after your freshman year, re-up. Yeah, re-up.
But you heard that, right? Man, it was. I thought my value, my family would have been straight. I'll say that.
You would have. Honestly, would you have budgeted any of that money?
No.
How would you have handled the portal?
But I think that's a common answer, though. That's a common answer. I don't think half these kids are budgeted it. I think they just get it and go crazy.
I was gonna get that money was spent before I touched my hand.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I done spent all that when AC, I'm gonna pay you $200,000 this year. That was gone immediately.
Yesterday.
I counted about 3 things. 200,000 would have went to in 3 months.
What were their names?
Yeah, that's one of them.
Listen,
Bro,
we just got off the phone with Jimmy Lindsay.
Yeah.
He got the job up there, Western Kentucky.
Yeah.
And we're shoe fanatics.
Shoe crazy.
When we was coming up, if the Jays came out on Saturday, we had
got them Thursday,
rocking in the class. because that was our thing.
Easy.
So easily, if we was getting what these cats are getting, the card game would have been stupid.
Man, the dice game. They shoot dice all night long.
Dice games already.
I'm taking everybody's money. Don't nobody move but me and the money.
We had some legendary dice games.
Man.
You're talking about Rose Towers?
Yes. Room 321.
We had some good time. But man, I tell you what, ain't nothing like the time. Ain't nothing like the time. But look, all of this he's saying ain't nothing like the time. I'm a Florida boy. I love Bama. I got my screen say right now, say welcome home.
So you telling me
Alabama A&M Stadium behind.
You weren't hopping in the portal?
No. We could have left.
Yeah, we could have left.
And we didn't get no money. No. Everybody, it was the coaching changes. That's when that door was open. You can go anywhere you want if it was a head coaching change. I went through 4.
Yeah, you did.
I had an opportunity to leave anytime. When we was highs, when it was lows, I was injured, being lied to. I didn't know what was going on. I had plenty of opportunity to leave. Ain't nothing like the time. Ain't nothing like the time. So I love this place.
The crazy thing was just our bond with our
we had a brother like Shay, like us, like my boss now. Like
because I remember when Fran was leaving.
Yeah.
And basically backdoored all of us. I remember Dennis and those guys they're our classmates, but they red shirt.
Right.
And I remember
he didn't tell y'all he was leaving, right? He just
I remember watching we were in Hawaii, watching A&M. I forget who A&M was playing.
He go.
And his face was like this, glued into the TV. And I walked by and said, "Hey, Fran, what are you doing?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "I'm just watching the game." I said, "Bro, there are some rumors going on that you're leaving." And he's like, "You know what? I'm never leaving." And
called us in his office.
So we had to go in and speak to the guys that were coming back next year to stick around and not to leave.
And he dipped on
him. And he backdoored him quickly. So that's the nature of the business.
Trying to hold it together.
Yeah, that's a lesson. That's a lesson
learned, man. It wasn't no leaving. We was in.
Right.
That's the kind of where these young guys at now. There's no commitment. There's no loyalty. There's no and this is my perspective. Like, you get those guys from the portal. They are great players, right? But there's no foundation, like B-Sci-Fi, like what that stands for. Them guys couldn't tell you that, half of them guys, like what it really meant to be a part of that football program. You know, it's kind of what I can get out of the deal now, right? That's my personal opinion.
Well, let me ask you this.
I think you're on.
Something now that you're at a place like Alabama A&M, where let's be real, the NIL stuff and all that's not near what it is. The Alabamas, these bigger schools. Is there more of a pure feeling of coaching at that level, or is there a fear that, hey, I work my ass off, I go get this kid that nobody really knows about, and if I turn him into something, they're just going to say he's going to hit the portal the next year?
And that's both of those are right. But for me, man, it's about relationships. Yeah. I want to be that. I'm that guy that when they go off, they finish, whatever they do, they say, "Hey, Coach AC, I'm having my first child. Hey, Coach AC, I'm getting married." Right? That's what's important to me, man, that I'm a part of these young men's lives, bigger than ball. Football is just the door opener, right? Just for me, the opportunity to pour into them and building that relationship. And that's what I'm getting to. It's a relationship deal for me. So that's the most important thing over it all. But you don't get that much, right? So, but for me, at this level, it's about the relationships.
And for me, just looking at it from the pure personnel standpoint of it, my pitch to Coach Shea would be, hey, listen, it's easy. Tell them guys, get them in, and I'll help you go to your next best
school.
There you go, exactly. Once you get in. All I need is 2 years out of you. Because if you don't go in with that pitch, they're going to leave any daggone way.
Correct.
So why not get that player understanding that, yes, it's only a 2-year deal that we're going to have them, get the best 2 out of them, and if they go on to Alabama, Mississippi State, Florida State, Ohio State, and Michigan, hey, listen, you did your job. But that's an easier sell for you, and it's a pitch and a recruiting tool moving forward for the next 3-star guy that wasn't getting recruited as highly in high school that can come play for you at A&M and give you those 2 dominant years. As for AC and Sam Shade, they're winning championships, SWAC championship.
Right.
That player gets moved on, and he gets to make money. But it's all, to me, in the evolution of how we're looking at talent acquisition and the way that you're structuring and building your team. You always have to evolve and be a forward thinker. Because if you're thinking behind if you come here, you can't leave. If you leave, you're not a team player. These kids don't think like we did.
No.
Like we do. Like we're old gray beard men. I know. Yeah. Petty, you don't got no gray in yours. Herb, you don't got none of yours. But you know, us gray beard guys.
I don't have kids. That's why.
That's how we think.
I don't have kids.
I figured it would be white.
Yeah.
So, and I look like a homeless pirate, but that's a whole nother thing. All right, man, AC, next to us, me and Smoke, like this is our Monday show, but we got two special guests, as you can tell with us tonight. Herb and Rodg, they got their own pod. I'm gonna let them, like, they got a chance to ask the man Deuce some questions. Y'all got anything for AC?
Well, you kind of touched on it right there at the end there, but let's say that does kind of happen, and the player comes to you and they mention, hey, I am going in the portal, I'm going blah blah or whatever, or whatever. I've got the offer, whatever. How do you approach that situation? Because I know, like, I'm a petty person. I'd be like, whatever. So I probably would not handle it the right way.
He is petty.
Well,
yeah.
Why we gotta use my name in vain?
Sorry, man. Sorry.
Well, no. And first of all, guys, thank you so much for having me. I know
it's our pleasure.
Bombarded myself in, man, but so thankful. You guys do a heck of a job. Always love being a part of this thing, man, and seeing you guys and what you're doing. But to answer your question, man, for me, it's transparency, right? And that starts from the jump. Hey, look, right? It's more of a give and take. And it's not about giving and taking. It's about, again, relationships. So where I've earned that young man's trust, where I can say, hey, look here, right? You have the ability, you can get this, right? I can help you get this. But you got to help Coach AC too by taking your butt to class, by not having any character issues, showing up early, doing what you're supposed to do off the field. So now, right? Now you got some equity. Now you got some value. So, all right, you do what you're supposed to do. I'm going to give you something now, and this is what I can give you. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you. I'm going to tell you what I can give you and what you can make. And if you just trust me and give me a year or give me this semester, whatever it is, whatever deal it is, where you've earned that trust, and let them know, hey, if you do these things, and guys, I tell you, every time it's 100% once I've done that. Because I think these young men, that's what they want more than anything. They hear so much, they don't know what to trust and who to trust. So if you earn that between that relationship building, that's what recruiting is all about. See, for me, that's recruiting when you're building a relationship. I don't recruit, I select. Because I've done my homework. So if I go after you, I ain't shooting no blank, right? I'm like John Wick. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
so you know what you're going for.
I'm not missing. I'm selecting because I have done the recruiting, the marriage, the building. I've done that. So I've got to where now, this is my wall, this is my board. I want them. Right. And I'm gonna go after that, right? Because now I've earned that trust where I can talk to them and like this, real, authentic. And that's what them young men want, man. And, some look at it as, and those, and those are successful. And some say, oh, he's just like everybody else. And you say, hey, right? It's not meant to be. So, man, I just answer your question is transparency, dog, from the jump.
Right. Does it surprise you to know that on this show, Smoke commands the most NIL money?
I wouldn't doubt that. I wouldn't doubt that. Now, I wouldn't doubt that. He sometimes, man, he can get a little bit like, man, you need security for him, man. Right? Like, he's the tough guy. He talks like he's, but man, you're not the tough guy, right? Stop.
You're gonna have to, AC. You're gonna have to protect. If me and Smoke come to Tuscaloosa after this last season, we're gonna need protection.
Listen, probably so. I wouldn't doubt it. Listen, I had to have protection.
Listen, quick story. What we was at? Was it the Capitol House?
Yeah.
Okay, so I played my whole freshman year with a broken left wrist. So I get surgery going into my junior year because I played freshman and sophomore year with a broken wrist. A lot of people don't know that. Broken left wrist. And we go out there and some dude out there running his mouth.
Yeah. And
I just saw Deuce. I pulled up to the spot and I'm seeing Deuce and dude running his mouth and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to get with this dude. And she was like, nah. He tapped me and said, listen, Smoke, I got this one.
Yeah.
He said you had a broken wrist. Man.
Yeah.
Stepped in, squared buddy up.
Get up out of here, man.
All she wrote.
Yeah, that's over, man.
2 hit a quitter.
Security, man. We gonna touch the sharp as iron, man. I needed this guy. That was career-ending surgery. Now he already broke. Whether he can hurt it worse, I gotta protect that. That's value right there, right?
So yeah, he's been my security for a long time.
That's my dude, man. That's my dude.
Herb, we need to talk at our next budget meeting. We need to get some security at some point, man.
That was 20 years ago, though.
20 years ago. Hey, I was having a conversation with my nephew, and he was like, "Oh, man, I'll run through your chest right now." I said, "And you going to jail, because I'm calling the police. You tackle me or hit me anyway, I'm calling the police on you. I ain't doing for me chasing these young folks, man.
Hey, Petty.
I'm too brutal. Don't be tackling me. You ain't finna I say something, you going to jail, you tackle me."
Petty, two notes. Two dudes that I've never heard of seen lose a straight up knuckle drag out fight. Maybe two of the best pair of hands I've seen.
Man,
on an individual. I'm gonna tell you,
man,
Percy Harvin, Antonio Carter.
Man,
I've
always protected myself.
Man, hands of steel.
Then when I felt danger, I protected myself. So I didn't pick no fight. So y'all don't listen to this guy. I can't fight, man.
You can't fight, but I've never seen you pick one.
No, I ain't gonna pick no fight.
Who would pick on you guys? And I mean, who would mess with y'all?
Well, you gotta remember, we the little dudes. AC 5'8", I'm 5'10" and a quarter. Like,
and we're a lot of mouth.
And a quarter.
And a quarter. I like
it,
man.
Before you see it. So a lot of people that like that.
So a lot of people like to get some liquid courage in them. And,
that's
what I was thinking. When
you're drunk, get to talking to them after you warn them, like, man, go head on, man. You drunk, go head on. You give them the warning shots, and then they get more aggressive. Now you got to protect yourself.
So, liquid courage about got me killed by Jarrett Johnson one night. And not because I was talking trash to Jarrett. He would have murdered me if I'd have done that. He would have but he had a recruit with him, and I had a bunch of drinks in me, and the recruit might have mentioned, I don't know why we were at the venue, and the recruit said something about, I'm visiting Ole Miss next weekend, which was the wrong thing to say to my drunk ass. And then Joe Holiday, who was running the venue at the time, Big Joel, thank God he was like a guardian angel and loved my dumb ass, because he told me the next day, he's like, I saved you last night. I didn't remember. I was like, save me from what? Jarrett Johnson murdering you. I was like, what? He wanted no. And he's like, well, you were trying to recruit. He had a recruit with him that I started recruiting. And he was like, who's this dumbass? And luckily, Joe Holiday said, he's a simpleton dumbass. Don't worry about him. And thankfully, Jarrett.
Now the crazy thing is, JJ went through like a couple of phases in college.
Yeah.
Right. He went through when he first got there. He was just like me, the 3-star, whatever star that worked his way in and got respect. And that was freshman Jarrett. Earned it.
Oh,
then there was sophomore Jarrett that started getting playing time, and that was an angry guy that you probably seen.
Oh yeah, Jarrett knocked your whole head off.
And then you got Jarrett, the one that started going to church. Is a junior, and that was a holy Jarrett that wasn't drinking.
Yeah, he flipped.
So it all depends on what JJ that you got.
J2, I called.
I did not get the holy one. I got the one that was ready, the middle one.
Yeah, J2, get out. He was a Florida boy. See, me and him. We took our official business. We flew on a private jet together.
We all,
from Chiefland.
But we're all on the same weekend.
Same weekend. But me, him, and Mike Gaines flew up together. We went down to Chiefland and picked him up, and Anquan Bolden was on there with us.
So that was the last.
Anquan Bolden, myself, Jarrett Johnson, and Mike Gaines.
Yeah. Y'all couldn't get Anquan to come on with you?
Because he,
what's that? Get Anquan to come on?
Ooh, no.
That pre-NIL.
I knew he was going to go to Florida State.
Yeah, because
he was going to play football. Yep, because he had the quarterback. He wanted to play quarterback. Everybody else was going to move, which he ended up moving in 13 years in Super Bowl MVP at receiver. So
it worked out.
Yeah, it worked out
a little bit.
But at least they gave him 2 years at quarterback at Florida State.
It wouldn't happen.
Not
Bam in the 90s back.
No, it wouldn't happen at all. He would have been moved immediately.
So this is the deal. Y'all get together every year and sleep over for the national championship?
That's it.
Hold on. Now you tried to say you said like sleepover.
Yeah, we
like,
do sleepover.
Y'all get
but
pizza
I
and
sleep
like
with
go to
him. I sleep
Blockbuster and
over
rent some
here.
video games and do all that shit.
I don't play video games.
I sleep over here, but it ain't next to this joker. He too ugly.
Is it a whole team thing? Like the Dolphins undefeated, y'all all get together, the whole defense?
You know
out
what?
there?
Last year it was
few of us. Charles Jones,
and Mike Gaines came
Mike
up.
Gaines, Charles Jones. We saw Dabo earlier.
Yeah.
And
And then
hung out with
we saw
Dabo.
Fish, Travis Fisher.
Yeah.
Fish
So
at
it was-
at the convention.
it's pretty much always a Bama reunion, but this guy here, this is like my brother, man.
And
Like,
we
we have always stayed in contact.
Yeah.
Good, bad over the years, always.
talk
like,
every day.
Yeah,
Every day.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Like I ain't even think about it that way, but yeah,
Yeah.
they talk to the joker every day at some point, whether it's through text, call, whatever, right? And you know, more. But he'll call me, hey man, what you ate today? Like he'll call me fussing, like bro, like I'm in the middle of a staff meeting, or I could be doing something. I answer, what you ate for lunch today? I know you're up there eating some fried chicken. Why don't you eat some, drink some water today? I'm like, bro, get on my phone, right? So some days I get that, right? Or just some days I just get, hey man, how you doing? How the kids doing? All right, bro, I'll just lay like, damn, you ain't asked about me. All right, then some days I get, man, Alabama's trash. All right, then I gotta hear that. Sometimes I get, hey man, what you gonna do this summer? I'm like, damn, man, it's November. You guys wanna do this summer? I don't know. So I get up, so I never know what I'm gonna get, right? I never know what I'm gonna get, but I love this joker though.
Well, Herb and Rodg, and I think y'all could probably echo this, and this may be the saddest thing of what we're losing in this generation of college football is what we're seeing in this bottom screen is this, and you've seen it throughout the Bama Standard shows with all you guys that come back. I saw it with AJ the other night when Mike came on, man, he lit up like a Christmas tree when it's almost like you're seeing a brother you haven't seen for years. And when you watch as fans, you don't know how close you guys are, but doing these shows, we've gotten to, kind of go behind the scenes and see the relationships that you guys have 25 years later. And I guess the point I'm trying to make, and I think you guys can agree for us that love it from the other side as fans, analysts, or whatever, I'm not sure that what we're seeing down here is going to be a thing of the future with these kids. I mean, they're not building relationships like you guys got.
Well, I'm not going to say they all are, but it's not as common.
Right.
It is,
right, man. And that's what it was all about. Like you talked about transferring and leaving. That never crossed our mind. Like these are my guys. Like we did everything together. Like and we really had each other back. Like not just talking about no fighting. I'm talking about, like I tell you, this guy, like no AC, you cannot hang out with them. Right. No AC, you cannot drive. Like, I mean, and I'm
home.
Yeah, like Rud. Not use that for an example, but just like somebody did probably say it, but these guys would have grabbed me, picked me up. No, you're not driving. Or no, and not saying that no one did that. Like nothing against it. That was just I think about that young man because I knew him personally, but I thought he could have been protected a little bit more. Right.
Yeah.
Right. He did not have to drive in that car. Like,
no.
And I don't think these guys. I just that's the part that I'm missing. Like, I don't want him mad at me, or that's him. I can't say that to him, or no, I don't want him to get embarrassed. No, it's not about it's about him. Right? Mm-hmm. That's what I'm talking about. But it's not about you all the time. That's what team. That's what brothers. That's what friends. That's when I say iron sharpens iron. Proverbs 27:17. That means that, like, we are to sharpen each other. I'm not gonna allow you to fall any way at all. It ain't about embarrassing you. It's about embarrassing us. Right. Because we're attached to each other. So that's what it means.
44 years old. We met each other when we were 18?
18 years old,
18,
man.
19?
44. Just like, this is my brother. He ain't my friend. Like, my kids call him Uncle Smoke. Right. That's what they know of him. And that's important to me because my children mean the world to me. I can leave them with him. If something was to happen to me, they spent the rest of their life with him. I know my young people will be good. So, like, this is my guy.
I can testify that. Just talking to him on the phone. My wife.
You know what?
Nothing but the time, baby.
You know what? Just before we jumped off, I think Kenneth just asked a really good question. Said, "What do you think of the Jason Jones hire?"
Awesome.
You know what? Shout out to Jason Jones for getting back
that's my bro too.
And bringing back some tradition back to Bama, because I always believe once you start putting a staff together, you always want to have connectors with either in the community or that's been with that program. And when you watch Bama somewhat this year, there's some of that still missing, because a lot of those young people that, like we said, transfer in, transfer out, guys on their third or fourth school, don't truly understand what B-Side 5 means.
Right.
And when you have the Freddie Roach is there, and the Jason Jones is still there, the Ashley Kimmel that's been there from the beginning in the recruiting department.
And came and was in school with us, understands the whole process.
With the
brothers
pride,
were athletes.
correct.
Right. So
of what the pride of Alabama is, you're going to see more of that back there, and guys playing for more of the name on the front of their chest than the one on their back.
That's exactly
Shout out,
right.
great hire by Caleb DeBoer.
Great hire, man. Shout out to my guys. Well, I love you to death, Jason, man. But always been a big brother. Another guy that in this profession, once I got into coaching, Jason would help me out. You know, he's been where I'm on my journey, where I'm headed, right? To that Power 5. I mean, this guy's been Ole Miss. I mean, you name him, Ole Miss, North Carolina.
So last time was at Indiana.
Yeah, Indiana. I mean, he's
Oklahoma State.
Yeah, Oklahoma. I mean, this guy's had a phenomenal career. So shout out to him, another guy that I competed with and understand. I know his pedigree, right? And what he.
With all that said, and we're gonna jump off shortly, Petty.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say it. And I thought I was a darn good coach. I've coached some NFL guys. The best coach out of all of us that played at Alabama, Antonio Carter.
Wow.
Like to me, there's like
Wow.
Lance Taylor followed in his footsteps all the way from when you left as a GA, Lance took that over.
Right.
When you went to App State, Lance came so irregardless of where you're at now, we understand the journey that you're going to get to. To me, the best teacher, motivator. This dude just sat in the chair and brought straight 10 times more energy than I could possibly bring to anything that he brought. And that's just who he is.
Well, man, I really appreciate that. I love it. Ball has been good to me. I always approach that game to like all or nothing. So it don't change that now that I'm a coach, that I kind of play through those guys sometimes, right? And you build that relationship with them, you figure out what they can and can't do, and you push that and you go with it. So, man, I appreciate that from my guy. But I've had an opportunity to be around some great ones, too. Coach Saban, Dabo, I played for a great one. And Mike Dubois gave Mike Price gave my first opportunity. Coach Dubois, I've been around some great teachers along with my playing ability. So I think the world of that right there, man. So I'm going to keep pushing. That's it.
I do want to ask that, AC, because there's so many great athletes that don't always go into coaching, go into different things. What was it that drew you to coaching? Like, hey man, I got something special for this too. I wasn't just a special football player, but I got something I can parlay and
That's exactly what it is, man. As a player, you play, you think you're Superman until myself, I failed as far as my injury, right? And broke my leg, went through many surgeries, was never able to play again. But that wasn't it. It was for me, the game for me was to pour into these other guys. I use that now my ministry where I'm at in my life, right? This is my platform to teach and pour into these guys and tell my testimony to these guys, because they ain't did half of the craziness I done, right? So I try to talk to them and reach them and earn their trust to where I can pour into them and be like, hey, man, don't let all your experiences be through an experience. I'm telling you, you listen, that stove hot. If you go over there, you're going to burn. And those who listen and eliminate those distractions, man, they phenomenal athletes. And that's what I try my best to do. I want to try to turn them away from destruction, bro, right? Whether they are great players or not, right? They still got some value. So I try my best to just pour and lead them the right direction. And when they do that, great athletes showcase themselves. But it ain't easy when you're distracted by the foolishness, right? When I have that relentless focus, I'm able to play ball at a high level. So that's the whole deal. So I'm thankful for that opportunity on this platform.
Man, awesome stuff, AC. Man, it started to show out as the national championship Postgame, and now we got AC Carter on here preaching to us. Hey, you can't ask for any better.
No, man. Man, it's been good to me. Again, I thank you guys so much for what you do. I love the Tide, always will be. And this is a great show, man. I keep up with you guys. I told you that before. I watch. I don't comment. I don't really know how to comment, but I go in and stuff. I'm awful with these computers and stuff, right? So, but man, I love to listen to you guys and just for having my guy on here. So, again, man, ain't nothing like the Tide, man. Roll Tide forever.
Roll Tide, baby.
Before we give our final takeaways, which I think would be a good time, man. The season's over. This was the last game. We're about to get into the postseason, all-season stuff. But Rog, Herb, y'all got anything else for AC before we get to those final thoughts?
Quick question for both you and Smoke, man. Out of all the games that y'all played while y'all were in Tuscaloosa, is there any one specific game that always stands out as maybe more exciting, more intense than the rest? I understand it's football. They're all going to be intense, but are there any one game that kind of just stands out from the rest?
In Bryant-Denny?
Anywhere.
Overall.
Oh, well,
overall.
For me, mine in the swamp, my true freshman year. Go back home to Steve. What people don't know, this is a fun fact. So Steve Spurrier, when I went on my visit to Florida, because I didn't commit, Steve Spurrier sent me and my mom, my family home.
Oh yeah,
he called me in like early, like you do your exit meetings when you leave. But it was like I got to that Friday, I went out to dinner. So Saturday, you do your campus tour, you do all the good stuff, know about the school, talk. Like he brought me in immediately, like, what you gonna do? I'm signing one receiver. Like I got to know, like put the heat on me. Like, and I told him I wasn't ready to commit, but they sent me home and took my parents travel their mileage check away, which I don't know that.
That would me though.
To go back down there in '99, they number 3 in the country, never lost in the swamp. I'm a true freshman, and I went down there and had the game of my career.
You had the game. You had the game tying touchdown.
10 catches, 119, a touchdown. True freshman in the swamp, first time.
There you go.
Hey.
I get
it. Ryan Williams, 17 young. I get what Ryan Williams knows. I got respect for him, but Coach AC was doing that too, baby.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna get away from me, and since AC is our guest. My favorite game of watching Deuce was our sophomore year against Ole Miss.
Yeah, I had 12 for 145, but I ain't getting the paint.
He rattling these off too, man. Like,
hey, there's somebody behind the screen holding the cards up and everything.
You remember the big ones. You remember the big ones.
So the crazy thing is, Ken Lucas. I don't know if anybody.
Ken Lucas went to the Panthers, cornerback. First rounder. I remember. Y'all talking to a half rebel here. I remember them names.
Man, he's still looking at the back of my jersey.
And I'm sitting there, and I remember the conversation.
Like, seriously.
Because that was Freddie's
junior year. I led the team in receptions that year.
And I remember because we were roommates. And I'm like, bro, listen.
We
got to get this thing going again. Because we had just lost, went out to UCLA and took an L.
Was that in Oxford in the rain when they had?
No, it was here in Bryant-Denny.
We ain't gonna talk about the rain game because we took it. That's the only time I lost the Ole Miss. We ain't gonna talk about that. Keep that to yourself.
This is the 2000 game. Wait, hold on. Is this one?
Yeah, this was 2000. This 2000.
2000.
When Kev Bailey had the
sophomore year.
He went.
My true sophomore year. 145 and 12, I think 11. I went, but I ain't getting the paint, though.
The crazy thing is, we're sitting in the room, and he's like, Smoke, I'm going to do him in.
Because they were playing all that man coverage.
He said, Smoke, they play all that man. He can't hold me.
He can't do it.
And I'm like, dude, you should. I'm like, bro, they not going to try to stack you, move you around. 1-5. He's like, 1-5 team. Man, Smoke, this is my team.
I told him straight, I said, this is my team.
He's like, Smoke, you the best DB. I'm the best receiver on this team. Go lock your man up. I'm going to put a buck on him.
I told him, I said, I'm gonna go. I told them I wanted to make sure that they understood when they were talking about this guy first round of the best corner, this and that. I'm like, yeah, right. I'm gonna show y'all.
That was 2000 in Tuscaloosa, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was living off Bryant Drive, and I was in the student section that night, and there was an Ole Miss player that got back to the locker room that night and did not have a helmet. And that's because a Sigma Chi buddy of mine
Oh, man.
pledge.
Look at that joke.
Took a pledge
They
down
did
to
like
the
the
field,
time,
and they're
baby.
standing on the field, and they're like, dude, we're going to get on this field. He's like, how? He said, grab that box. So they grabbed a box and just walked on the field, said, just act like you belong. Well, they're walking on the field, and this dude's helmet's just sitting there. They threw the helmet in the box and an Ole Miss football, which I got somewhere. I get home that night. Everybody's giving me shit because y'all just beat the ever-loving piss out of Ole Miss.
Yeah, we beat the
Dude got hurt
Brits.
early. They went to Joe Gunn. Kev Bailey returned a kick, blocked the kick, and returned it. Y'all just beat the hell out of them. You went off that night.
It was pretty
I
bad.
got home, and that helmet is sitting on my dresser. And I'm like, what the hell? Nobody for like 20 years told me where that came from. I found out like 2 years ago how that helmet came to be, that somebody stole it off the sideline that night.
Wow.
And we did not plan any of this
No.
conversation. Just to let everybody know, I ain't playing nothing. This wasn't part of the production meeting.
No, this was all organic, crazy shit that's all full circle of life. But no,
Good, man. This is awesome.
dude, that was AC. Like I said, man, you were a legend in my circle, buddy.
In many ways.
Thank you so much. I received that humbly, man. Alabama was good to me. That's why he give me crap about it, but I absolutely love that place. I do.
That's good to hear.
Like, I'm thankful for my scars, but I love that place. Alabama's always a part of me.
Well, and like I said earlier, we can always tell when you guys come on here, man. If you're not watching, if you can't tell the camaraderie and the love that y'all built, it's truly special, and it makes you, even the fan part in you, come a little more. Guys, before we get to the final takeaway, hit that like and subscribe. If you're on Twitter X, come over to the Bama Standard on YouTube. Hit that like and subscribe because we have shows all week coming up. But before we get to that, I'm going to go, it's the end of the season. Final takeaway, if you want to talk about back-to-back Big Ten, man. Got to give them their love. Michigan and now Ohio State. National SEC's got to get their shit together if we're going to get back on top now. Big Ten's going to take over, but got to give love. Ohio State ran the gauntlet in the playoffs this year. Took it to Notre Dame tonight. The season's over, but it's over. That means we start anew tomorrow. Guys, final takeaways on this season, whatever you want it to be. Alabama, big picture, wherever you want it, wherever you want to go. And Herb, I'll start with you, my man.
So for all the complaining about the seeding and the playoff rankings and everything that happened, the team that was the championship favorite the beginning of the year won the whole thing. So sometimes you just got to let things play out, and it's going to end the way it ends. We had a lot of comments, like you said, about how much they spent on their roster. I love that they did it, and I would happily be rooting on Alabama if we had done the same or any of the same. So we mentioned it. You gotta look at how you build your roster for the future, man, and you got to pick which players are important to you and how do you get to that next level. So no hate on them. Congratulations to Ohio State, and like you said, tomorrow you got to get back to work, man. For all these teams that are falling behind.
Right.
I'm going to say the same thing that I told her when we were leaving Norman this year I hate to bring it up, after we lost.
Why are we? I thought we said we were going to forget that trip.
It's the truth. It's the truth. After we lost 24-3, we leaving Norman, walking out of the stadium. The one thing I said to her was, I'm excited to see our offense in 2025. I think the offense is going to look a lot different next year. We already heard about our defense. We got a lot of returners coming back. I'm really, really excited about that, but I'm even more excited about the offense for next year. Unfortunately, the season didn't pan out the way we wanted it to, but I always have to remain optimistic. I'm always going to look forward, always looking forward to see what we're going to do next year, and I can't wait.
Well, you know what? You guys are touching on exactly what I want to touch on, so I'm going to spin it another way. And I got my shirt on right now representing Alabama A&M. And my final takeaway are for the new hires of HBCUs of my man D-Jack, Michael Vick, and Sam Shade, all former NFL players that are getting the rightful opportunity because what Coach Prime has done in the P4 level and what he's done to college football to give us former players the platform and the opportunity that we don't all have to go through the same channel, the same journey, the same road, to being GAs, to being analysts, to get a true opportunity to lead men. We're leaders. All we have to be is organized, lead, and be detailed, and have a proper direction of how we're going to get these W's and how we're going to help bring money to these schools. I'm just fortunate and so happy that all of us are getting the opportunity to go out and do the things that we love, and that's prepare our young people out there to become better men.
Well, man, that's powerful.
Well said. Well said.
That's powerful.
AC?
Oh man, well, I kind of piggyback on all you guys, man. It's all about relationships, transparency, as I said, trust, right, and just displaying yourself as who you are, right. Not trying to be someone else, not trying to coach like this guy, not trying to talk like this guy. Especially with these young people, man, it's super, super important that you do that. And man, I tell you what, in the words of Nick Saban, you pay the wrong player, you're butt in trouble as well. So KYP, right? Know your personnel, right? If not, you butt in trouble as well. So man, again, you got to know what you're doing. You got to do your homework, and that takes relentless focus. So if you have those things, you're gonna be fine. If not, you're gonna crumble like a dog on, like your house built on sand.
Makes sense.
Well, man, I can't look. It was a love-hate season. I hated it because the teams I wanted in the playoffs weren't there, but I kind of loved it because I've been one of those people that screamed for a few years we needed some parity, that college football had gotten stale. I don't really like the way it got to it with the portal and NIL going absolutely berserk. I guess the true believer in me believes that over time you're going to see that settle out. I think it already is to some degree. The money's absolutely absurd right now, but that bubble is going to burst. But we got parity, man. I say parity.
It ain't going nowhere.
But yeah, Smoke's shaking his head. It's
just not. It's tough. Too much. It's too much currency, man. It's
two
gonna be tough.
2 paces out of the bottle.
Yeah,
Petty, not to cut you off, but
no, go for it.
The revenue sharing and the new money deals that they're being signed by these TV companies to broadcast college football, and what you just saw today, the whole world has sat and watched 4 extra games of college football, meaningless, or if it wasn't competitive or not. The viewership shot through the roof.
Yes.
So you can't.
Bro, that's where the money's at.
Right. So you can't say that the money's absurd when these young people are putting their lives on the line.
I know.
Everyone's benefiting off of their backs except them. So when you are doing revenue sharing, the viewership's going up. That means the money's going up.
Right.
So money goes up. There's no end to this. There might be a way of retooling it.
Yeah.
Of now saying, okay, we're gonna give you $30 million instead of $20 million.
Yeah.
But the money's not going down.
Yeah, that's going up.
Yeah.
Money's going
That's
up.
a fact.
Yeah.
Sorry, cut you off. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's true.
There's still going to be. I think there's going to be a leveling out. You're not going to be given $700,000. But I know y'all say it. I know
right. It's going to be $2 million.
But the numbers on the Final Four games last week weren't up. They actually were down from previous Final Four games. So. Yeah, I know they're going up. I'm just saying at some point there's got to be a leveling off. But no, and I'm the key one, and Tyrone Prothro will always be my model of why you guys should get paid. I will always go to Prothro will always be that guy's number was all over that stadium. His chance to make money off his God-given gift was taken away that day against Florida, and I always agree. But I think you're relying on I mean, these NIL and these collectives where people are giving $2,500 or whatever, that's great and all. But these big players where Michigan signing these $12 million, that's coming from a small handful of big time boosters. And there's only, there's only so many times a booster is going to pay $25 million for the product at Texas A&M.
No, it ain't. Not when they money doubling. I'm telling you, no. You look at it like that, it ain't gonna happen.
But see, when the revenue sharing, they're gonna start capping it and spreading that money out when this revenue sharing comes. There's gonna be.
So Petty, can I forecast a little bit what I think will happen and the way I've structured a few things? All right. So when you're looking at it, the billionaires are looking at corporations, and I think the way that college football is moving is going to the corporate level. And that's where revenue sharing is going. Once the revenue sharing is going to kick in this year, sponsorship and corporations are going to come in. They're going to pitch in more money into, I believe, collectives. You can't control the flow of money and how much college players are getting paid unless you unionize. And there's no union coming. So even if your AD is saying I'm going to allocate 75% of the money to $20 million over to football, there's going to be a booster over there, Antonio Carter, say, you know what, ain't nothing but the Tide, that I'm willing to pay $10 million for this quarterback that's coming in that you can't say nothing about.
Exactly.
So I don't think there's an end to this. I think they're just the way that we structure it might give it a chance to sustain itself. But I hear Nick Saban complain about it. I've complained about it. But when the coaches' salaries was going from $3 million to 10, from $50 million to 100 to 250, nobody else was complaining about that. And the board of trustees found a way to come up with that.
Jimbo Fisher gets $68,000 a month to 2025 or 26 or something.
To walk away.
And as you guys know firsthand, that coach can up and leave in the middle of the night with it so much as telling your ass.
Right.
So why can't the players do the same? Why can't the players now benefit off of their work? And I'm not saying everyone should get paid, but the ones that are doing it, the really good players, they should get, like, I think Caleb Downs should make more money than the defensive coordinator for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Because he's that damn good.
Yeah. And more people are going to show up to watch him play than the defensive coordinator.
Yeah. And that's
him making plays is what's keeping your job.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's no knock on Jim Knowles. I think Jim Knowles is a great human being to begin with, from knowing him as a person, but an outstanding coach. But the player, I think, makes the game. I don't think it's a coach.
Cam Ward is the perfect example. So, I mean, Cristobal was viewed as the biggest moron in the coaching stratosphere last year. And nobody even talked about him being an idiot this year because they won 10 games.
Best $1.3 million investment that he's probably made in his life.
Yes.
Well, maybe that's the final takeaway. It's just getting started. The craziness is here to stay, and buckle up and hope your team play. Look, Ohio State showed how to do it. Follow suit.
Get your mind right.
Man, AC, can't thank you enough for joining us.
Appreciate you.
Definitely.
The Herb and Rodg Podcast, man. You guys, thank y'all so much. Y'all are showing up more on this network. So fans, stay tuned. You're gonna see these two. With that said, man, we got a full week coming up of shows. Smoke, y'all gonna be back tomorrow night?
Absolutely. And we got who? My big brother, Kenny Smith, aka Mr. Do Whatever You Want.
88 gonna be on here. Oh man. Hey, man, I may have to just jump on my dog. I miss 88. Now that jump is something else.
So we're gonna have that would be big 88. And
current offensive lineman, right? Montgomery? Right.
Yes. Young fella that's coming in is also gonna be on the show. Star-studded show. Deuce might be around if I keep him around long enough. I just gotta feed him breakfast.
You gotta call mom. Hey, Mom, I want to stay over one more night. We got this Blockbuster rental for an extra night.
And Patty, you know what? Here's a crazy thing. He did call his mom earlier today. Miss Williams, you did call us.
He probably made you call his mom. You better call your mom and make sure.
You dog her every day. Every day.
She knows she got to make my carrot cake.
He wanted carrot cake. So I told him we got to split it. I'm going to eat half coming back.
Well, after their show, 6 o'clock Central, Bama Standard, Kenny Smith, got Rob Montgomery, and then after that, you got me with my boy Matt Caddell, Chris James, the man Dan James, and we got a guest coming on, Tyrone King, former Bama player.
Oh, T. King, good guy.
Teammate of Matt Caddell.
Yeah, we had Miles. Good guy, great group. Well, man, thank you again for having me, man.
Then after that, Wednesday, we've got the Crimson Dynasty with C. Stephen Smith, JB, man, there's all kind of guests always coming on with C. And then after that, an Alabama name that even these guys kind of raise their eyebrows to. That's one George Teague on Teague's Take at 8:15. Always bringing the heat.
Royalty.
Thursday night, back here, 7:30 with my man Herb going hard in the paint, talking Bama basketball. I don't know if you're paying attention, but we kind of had a huge win this weekend at Rupp Arena. Tide rolling back in it. And then Sunday night, talking Bama, always JT, Marshall, the whole gang, Steve, like I said, just come on. We're going to be here all week. Hit that like and subscribe, and you'll get all this stuff so you won't miss it. With that said, Herb Rodg, tell them a little bit about your show and where to find you guys.
Go ahead, Herb. I'll let you do it.
Well, I always hesitate just because we're on the same time as you guys are on tonight. So after you're done checking out the Bama Standard, come over and check out our replay. We do our shows Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Central Time. we're gonna have a couple of Ohio State people on. We've had people on from, we've had Notre Dame people on, and they were wanting to get on the show tomorrow night until the loss, and now I think they're just going to be drowning their sorrows. But we'll have
embarrassing. Man up, come on the show.
Well, one of ours, 5'0", he'll probably still come on, but he will certainly be drunk. But definitely got some Ohio State people lined up to come on and talk, and about the game and just about the season in general. But that's where we are. Every Tuesday night, you can find us on the Herb and Rodg Podcast on our channel.
Man, Herb and Rodg, I gotta pull up on y'all podcast. Just please send me one little invite. I'll show up, man. I'll take
please
notes.
Do so.
And I'll make sure that I show up to production meeting because I usually don't show up with Petty. I usually Petty do all that. I pop on like 2 minutes and say, Petty, listen, just throw that, man. I'm gonna catch it.
That sounds like our production meetings though. That sounds like ours. So that's what we do.
Rodg, you talk about having notes. I don't think
text messages, and that's all Herb and I do. And
then, At 5, Rog texts me and goes, "Hey, who do we have on tonight?" And that's the end of the production meeting.
That's usually the best one, but I do take notes.
We're just ad-libbing the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
Guys, man, I can't thank y'all all enough for being here tonight. It's the end of college football. I guess had to put a bow on this thing, even though our Tide was not in it tonight. Maybe they will be back next year because we don't smoke.
Listen, the fun is in fellas. The fun is in watching. The fun is in watching.
Too much Bama in me.
Yes, the fun is in watching. Your team ain't gonna win every year. Just enjoy the journey and just get on the ride.
Yep.
We always looking for championship, man.
Good luck.
Oh, we're gonna get one soon.
Yeah.
You crazy. Roll Tide. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, baby.
Roll Tide. Like Grumpy old
what? He too much Bama in me. We finna go get us one.
Good luck.
I'm gonna end it on AC. Let AC just close it out with a Roll Tide and smoke.
Roll Tide. Hey, roll damn Tide. Let's go.
Roll Tide, smoke.
Roll Tide.
See y'all next time.
All right.
Later.